life. Your career has ended, my friend. Don't debate with people like David Wood. To make it even more worse, guys, this guy even lied about the Arabic, because it does not say for according to the Arabic, because the Quran says the following: Inna Allah wa malaikatuhu yusalluna ala an-nabi. Again, ala an-nabi. That means on the Prophet, not for and not to.
You see, Muhammad Hijab is asserting that David Wood said Allah prays to the Prophet. It's Yusallallahu, and David Wood is explaining it as Allah prays to. That is why it isn't pray to, but rather it is pray for and not to. Wow. Listen to me. Even if David Wood had asserted that indeed Allah prays to, that would come up with several lot of problems. Or we get to me, it would develop new problem, and either Allah prays to or prays for Muhammad, either one of them, Allah would be on the hot scale. How we get to me? Because why do Allah have to pray to somebody? Once again, I greet you, beloved, and I welcome you to u.s.a Media. You know for sure that whenever I get in my seat here, it's about dismantling those several assertions that have been made against Christianity since time immemorial. One thing that has been orchestrating in the minds of many people, many Christians, is that Muslims are very much radicals, they are very much terrorists and all that, and for that matter, we have to avoid them. We have to save what we have, and we need not to ever temper anything that belongs to them. But it isn't true. All we get to me, we were given the efficacious gospel, and just as the Apostle Paul said in Romans chapter 1, verse number 16, that he is not ashamed of the gospel, okay, because it is the power of God via which he saves. All we get to him. So if we avoid preaching the efficacious gospel to the Muslims as well, seriously, we are actually going to be punished someday by Jesus Christ. That's exactly what we have to do. We have to also be ready in season and out of season. We have to be ready to give an answer to anyone who asks us reason for the hope that is in us. 1 Peter chapter 3, verse number 15 has to do with the classical apologetical Bible passage, and it states that but sanctify the Lord God in your hearts, and always be ready to give an answer to anyone who asks you reason for the hope that is in you with meekness and fear. So this time, brother, that's exactly what we're going to do over here. I told you earlier on that on this show, we are about reasonable polemics against authentic historic Islam, and we create the awareness that indeed Jesus Christ descended purposely for man's salvation. Beloved, this time round, we're going to react on a program or a debate that went on between Muhammad Hijab, a Muslim, and also David Wood. You get that they were debating, and I think they were debating in regards to the Trinity, the trio aspect of God, the triune nature of God. Or we get to it, the Bible talks of the trio aspect of God, and Muslims do abnegate the idea most of the times. The query show us in the Bible where it states that God is Trinity. The term Trinity is found in the Bible. The same applies to you Muslims. The term Tawheed is never found in the Quran. Or we get to it, the concept is found in the Quran. The same applies to Trinity. Trinity isn't stipulated anywhere in the Bible, but rather the concept is in the Bible. When you study the Bible, you get to know that indeed God is three but one, and or one but three God. That is it. That is his nature. That is his essence. I've been telling you everything about God on this very show, and surely today is going to be awesome over here. And I think they were getting to the climax of this debate, and David Wood, during I think the second section, he asserted that Allah do praise in the Quran, Surah Al-Ahzab, Ayah 56, but Muhammad Hijab tried to banter what actually David Wood said by claiming stuff that David Wood never asserted. Shall we take a quick break and return? And we are also going to react on what the assertion a Muslim reactor also made about what actually Muhammad Hijab and David Wood did during the debate. Well, Surah Al-Hijab, ayah 56 reads, Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu sallu alayhi wa tasallimu taslima. Okay, the Quran reads over here that Allah and his angels is the malaika. You get that? Allah and his angels praise for the prophet. You see, Allah and his angels praise for the prophet. This is exactly what the Quran says. But Islamic scholars and interpreters, whenever they're trying to massage these Quranic verses to cover up the idea that indeed Allah do praise, they sometimes stipulate Allah sends blessings, Allah sends greetings, blah, 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 blah. But the actual thing the Quran is saying Allah does is salah. And you know for sure that salat or salah means prayer. It is worship. So if it isn't actually prayer at all, but rather worship, who is Allah worshiping? Allah needs not to worship. If he is the final deity, if he is the suprema to everybody, if he is the supreme being, he needs not to worship anybody. He needs not to pray to anybody. Prayer is a form of worship. That is it. Prayer is to praise, is to glorify, and all that. So prayer, during praying, you are worshiping God. That is it. So you're telling God of what he is to do for you. You are pleading your cause before God. That is what we do in prayer. So the Quran is saying that Allah is pleading his cause before God, or one who is above him. Plus the angels, not just that, all Muslims as well. And again, Muslims all over the world are to be sending greetings to the Prophet wheresoever he is. Muhammad is dead and gone. He is dead and buried. He is still under the ground. And Allah is obliged. Allah is under an obligation to always be sending greetings to him. Who gave this obligation to Allah? Who placed him under such obligation? Well, let's hear David Wood out during this debate. David Wood said, I think the debate was done and David Wood was reacting to what actually went on during the debate. David Wood's reaction says, I said it clearly that Allah do praise for the prophet, plus the angels and Muslims. Shall we hear David Wood out and return?
What did I say? The Quran claims, surely Allah and his angels pray for the prophet.
Well, the reason David Wood is making this assertion or make this statement is that Muhammad Hijab during the debate, on the course of the debate, asserted that David Wood lied. He made a career blunder statement, meaning he blundered his career. And to make a career blunder statement really means that you are making mistakes, you're not studying, and for that matter, your career is going to end somewhere. I hope you get to me. If you have a profession, if you have a skill, and you do not train, you do not try your possible best to chip in much effort or exert much energy to study much about what actually you already have, sure, it is going to be dull, it is going to be nulled, and it's going to collapse, and you're never going to fit into any situations that are coming up newly. Or that is it. In case of any rejuvenation, you're not going to be able to stand it. I hope you get to me. So this is exactly what Muhammad Hijab told David Wood. He told him that he'd made a career blended statement. Meanwhile, it wasn't true. Muhammad Hijab was seriously in the kitchen, and the heat that was going through his eyes was very much heavier to the extent that he couldn't even listen clearly to David Wood. David Wood ostensibly and overtly asserted that indeed Allah do praise. Allah makes salah. Allah does salah for the prophet, including the malaika, that is the angels, and also all Muslims are to be sending are to be praying for Muhammad. You get that? But when Muhammad Hijab came, what did he say? Again, let's listen to David Wood. When he was saying that Allah prays for, and never did he ever assert that Allah prays to. Let's again hear David Wood out. We are going to deduce whether he said pray to or pray for. Let's go there and come back.
What did I say? The Quran claims, surely Allah and his angels pray for the prophet.
I think we are all witnesses over here. You can testify to the idea that indeed, or to the fact that indeed David Wood asserted that Allah do praise. According to Surah Al-Hijab, ayah 56. You get that? In Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi. Allah and the angels praise for the prophet. Okay, they praise for the prophet. Okay, people does misinterpret. People do misinterpret what actually is written in Surah Al-Hijab, ayah 56. Okay, they misinterpret Yusaluna and they put blessings rather than pray. But I've already been telling you over here, and I think I reacted to a program that went on between Sam Shamoun and a Muslim when he was educating the Muslim on the idea that the actual term for peace in Arabic is barakah. Okay, you hear from Muslims barakah sallah, barakah kadeh, barakah sallah, barakah kadeh. You get that? The actual word for peace in Islam is barakah. You get that? And the actual word for the actual word for blessing rather is barakah. Okay, the actual word for blessing is barakah, and peace is salam. You get that? So the Muslim will be like assalamu alaikum, assalamu alaikum, and you'll be like wa alaikum wa salam. You get that? That is it. So may Allah's peace be upon you, and you'll be like it's the same to you, and that is it. I hope you get to me. So what actually the Quran is saying over here is that Allah do praise. Muhammad Hijab came, and we had wanted, or we had expected from this scholar to have been able to disprove David Wood by really going by what actually he asserted. Okay, by dismantling his argument on the fact that Allah do praise. Muhammad Hijab didn't do this, but rather he said the translation isn't Isalullahu doesn't mean Allah prays to, but rather it means pray for. He did this to affirm what David Wood already asserted, but he thought he was dismantling or refuting his argument. He was, I think, lost in this debate. I hope you get with me. He was, I think, lost in this debate. I said, I think. Okay, I'm not establishing the fact over here. He was, I think, lost this debate. And you can see some of the argumentum ad hominem during this debate. Okay, he somewhat attacked David Wood's personality and all that. How we get with me? And there's something called argumentum ad populus. Okay, it's a logical fallacy. It is fallacious during debate. How we get with me? And sometimes you appeal to force and all that. Okay, so this is it. Most of the addresses also appeals to popularity and all that. Muhammad Hijab is popular, and for that matter, whatever he says is true or is right and blah, blah, blah. If you do this, you're going to get everything wrong. It's somewhat like the followings of Sean Paul, G.A. Sean Paul. That's what they do as Bible and Quran doctor, blah, 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 blah. But they would never, ever sit on their buttocks to listen or to hear him out to deduce from what actually he is doing. Okay, to see of whether it is true or it isn't true. I hope you get with me. Okay, so let's go there to hear Muhammad Hijab out. Muhammad Hijab, what did David Wood actually say? Let's hear him out.
Mr. Hijab was ready for this, so he proceeded to smash my mistranslation.
He says, Allah says that Allah yusalli ala nabi, and he's here saying that he prays to the Prophet. There's a difference between yusalli lahu and yusalli ala in the Arabic language. I knew this was going to happen. I knew this was going to happen. I knew I was going to have to give you a free Arabic lesson here today. That's why the translators put for, not to the Prophet.
You see, Muhammad Hijab is asserting that David Wood said Allah prays to the Prophet. It's Yusallallahu, and David Wood is explaining it as Allah prays to. That is why it isn't pray to, but rather it is pray for and not to. Wow. Listen to me. Even if David Wood had asserted that indeed Allah prays to, that would come up with several lot of problems. Or we get with me, it would develop new problem, and either Allah prays to or prays for Muhammad, either one of them, Allah would be on the hot scale. Or we get to me, because why do Allah have to pray to somebody? Okay, why do Allah have to pray for somebody or to somebody? Allah needs not to pray. He's the receiver of man's prayer. Okay, we need to pray to Allah. We need to pray for people to Allah. Okay, because to pray for somebody is to pray to somebody for somebody. So therefore, if Allah do praise for Muhammad Hijab is telling us that Allah has someone higher than him. Allah prays to the one who is above him. Allah prays to the one who is greater than him. And for that matter, if Allah is indeed not praying to, but rather praying for Muhammad, still there is a great problem. Allah isn't the final one. Allah isn't indivisible. Allah isn't, the supreme deity. Allah isn't the God who created the universe. Allah isn't equivalent to God the Bible speaks of. I'll be getting to me because I've given you several many disparities in regards to or between Allah and the God of the Bible, and you get to know that there are vast differences between them, and they can never be on the same scale. I'll be getting to me, please. Okay, so shall we proceed? Muhammad Hijab said that David Wood is a blatant liar. David Wood didn't study well, and he's ending his career during this debate. But did he at all end David Wood's career during this debate? Who at all ended whose career during this debate? And you know what? One thing that is very much interesting over here is that a Muslim also reacted, okay, on this program that went on between David Wood and Muhammad Hijab. And this Muslim, actually, I think his voice was under the video, but rather you do not see his face, okay? So this is it. He says that Muhammad Hijab needs to stop debating Christians. This is a message to Muhammad Hijab. Okay? Muhammad Hijab needs to stop debating Christians, most especially David Wood. Okay? Sir Muhammad Hijab, this is what your own Muslims are telling you. This Muslim says that you need to stop debating David Wood because you nor David Wood got it right. This is what he's saying. That's his assertion. He says that the Quran doesn't say that Allah prays to, nor does it say that Allah prays for, but rather it says Allah prays on. You get that? This is it. He's trying to correct things over here. That's exactly what Muslims worldwide does. Okay? Muslims trying to protect their Islamic orthodoxy, that's exactly what they do. They try their possible best to massage a Quranic verse, okay, that they think is very much damaging to their assertions and all that. Okay, they try their possible best to massage them so as to be able to befit their explanations and interpretations given outside there. Or sometimes when they get to know that there are several many mouths or several many eyes going on around some particular verse of the Quran, they get to know that we need to sit down, we need to be seated and do some changes. Okay, so that it will not create anything cataclysmic outside there or anything red outside there. I hope you get what I mean. So this Muslim is rather saying that Muhammad Hijab got it wrong and David Wood also got it wrong. Shall we hear him out?
You don't know what the words in Arabic mean. Don't speak salah. Come on, please, don't embarrass yourself.
According to Mr. Hijab, what did I say?
And he's here saying that he prays to the Prophet.
What did I actually say multiple times? Surely Allah and His angels pray for the Prophet. Allah and His angels pray for the Prophet. What's the correct translation?
And that's why the translators put for, not to the Prophet.
Muhammad Hijab. What an embarrassing career-ending statement. Mr. Muhammad Hijab, I advise you to never ever again debate in your life. Your career has ended, my friend. Don't debate with people like David Wood. To make it even more worse, guys, this guy even lied about the Arabic because it does not say for according to the Arabic, because the Quran says the following: Inna Allah wa malaikatuhu yusalluna ala an-nabi. Again, ala an-nabi. That means on the Prophet, not for and not to.
He sounds this warning to Muhammad Hijab, okay? And he says, Muhammad Hijab, never in your life ever debate David Wood again. Okay, this is a career blending statement that Allah prays for. Allah doesn't pray for anybody. You didn't get it right, and David Wood as well didn't get it right. But rather, it is, he says, it is neither Allah prays for nor to the Prophet, but rather that Allah prays on the Prophet. I think if Allah prays on the Prophet, listen to me. The problem over here is that Allah prays. That is the problem. Or we get to me. So either he prays to, he prays for, or he prays on. The fact is Allah prays. So if Allah prays, that alone is a great problem. It's a huge damage. Okay, it is very much uncalled for about a deity, a true deity. If Allah was God, Allah wouldn't pray at all. So if either Allah is praying to, praying for, or praying on anybody, Allah needs not to pray. If he does praise, then he is not God. That's what we're saying. Okay, this is what we're saying. And even when you go to the Bible, when you go to the Quran, Surah Quran chapter 50, verse number 1, 51 verse 1, 52 verse 1, 53 verse 1, 90 verse 1, 91 verse 1, 92 verse 1, 93 verse 1. All these verses of the Quran says that Allah has someone suprema to him. Okay? Since he swears by something. He swears in the name of something. He swears calling something greater, someone greater than him to witness. You get that? As Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah 157, I think, and also Surah Al-Ahzab, ayah 47, and Surah Al-Ahzab, 56, all stipulates that Allah do praise. Allah does salah. Therefore, Allah cannot be God. So, Mr. Muslim commenter, you are very good, you've done well, and you say in Muhammad Hijab didn't get it right, debating David Wood, and he ended his career. David Wood rather ended his career. I hope you get with me. And for that matter, he should lay down his shit. He shouldn't ever get on a platform to debate any Christian, most especially David Wood again. Fine. But what you also saying is still a problem, because Allah prays. Okay, you are not refuting the idea that Allah prays. Allah does pray. That is the problem over here. Allah prays. So either Allah prays to, prays on, or prays for, still it's a problem. Allah needs not to pray. He is God, and if he is God, God needs not to pray to anybody, because there's no one suprema to him. Okay, when you read Genesis 22 verse number 16, you get to know that when God was swearing, okay, God never swore by anything, because there is nothing greater than him. And there is no one comparable to him. Therefore, God swore by his own name. He swore by his own name in accordance with Genesis 22, verse number 16. This tells you that he is supreme deity, and there is no one higher than him. Okay? May God richly bless you for hearing us out. If you're a Muslim, I believe you are studying a lot from what actually we're doing over here. May God richly bless you, because you know what? For you to follow a deity, you need to know for sure that the deity of your religion is real, or what actually he does, whatsoever is about him, whatever is written about him correspond to reality. Okay, if they do not correspond to what actually a deity is supposed to do, because I've been telling you of the accommodative theory, or we get to it, the accommodation theory states that God the accommodation theory talks of the device of limiting stuff. Or we get how God entered into finitude. Okay, how God intended into finitude, and he was able to accommodate our finitude, but he wasn't able to accommodate human error. That is a true deity. That is the reason Jesus Christ wasn't able to sin, because he couldn't accommodate human error. Okay, he accommodated our finitude to the extent that he could die and all that, he ate and all that, but he wasn't able to sin, because true deity never sins. That is it. That is why Jesus Christ is God. May God richly bless you. Tag everyone with this information. Tag Muhammad Hijab for us. Tag David Wood. Tag also Act 17 Apologetics. Tag Sam Shamoun. Tag J. Smith. Tag Christian Prince. Whosoever you think if you tag with will be very much needful. And make sure to help us with sharing this program to all your contact lists. Help us with your likes, your subscriptions, and also help us with your comments under the comment section over there. I've seen there is foaming over there. It is there under the comment section. There is a foam going on over there. I hope you get to me, and it's very good. You're making there very hot. And I have also Vincent and Affair, Uncle Sam of Toronto, Canada, Ghana House, Mom Esther Enim, that is Samuel Samoa of Toronto, Canada, and also Mr. Daniel Danquashen of Palermo, Church of Christ, Italy, Mr. Williams of Palermo, Church of Christ, Italy, Mr. Edu, Canada, Mr. Joseph Nimacon Jr. in San Lake Road, Church of Christ, Joseph Nimacon, all of you, may God richly bless you for helping us with sharing this program. Make sure to tag One Zongo TV also, and Mam Online GH. Bye-bye.